like to tell a brief story about Shrek. So I was wearing my Shrek the Musical hoodie earlier, but then I was like, oh, I'm recording something. I have to put on real clothes. But I was cast as Pinocchio in Shrek the Musical. It's actually a very vocally demanding role. But originally I wanted Fiona, and there was a boy in my English class who wanted to be Shrek. And so we both wrote essays for AP Lit about Shrek and Fiona. And it was really cringe. But one day, Ian, who was also my homecoming date that year, Ian, if you're watching this, but he raises his hand as we're working through this book about like literary motifs and themes, and he raises his hand, and Mr. Sprudy goes, yeah, Ian. And Ian goes, I think Shrek is a Christ figure. And Mr. Sprudy is like, okay, can you kind of elaborate on that? Like, tell me your reasoning why. And I'm in divinity school, so this is really apt for me to bring up because it's theologically rooted. But his reasoning was that, the Jewish people were waiting for their Messiah. And so the Israelites were people who had been through multiple rounds of occupations by like dominating powers, particularly imperialist powers. And so the Jewish people, the Israelite people were like, okay, well, our Messiah is going to save us from occupation. That's the role of the Messiah. And then Jesus comes, and Jesus liberates the people. If you subscribe to liberation theology, which I do, he liberates the people in a way that they don't expect. Not in like the total overthrow and coup of a government system, but through the total, and depending on what people believe, a variety of different things about, it's called Christology, the nature of Christ. But so similar to how Jesus saved people, was the Messiah. I said, no air quotes around Messiah, sorry, Jesus. In that regard of how the salvation of people was different than they expected, Fiona waited for years under occupation of this curse to be liberated from her tower by a knight, and to kill the dragon. Killing the dragon was the key part. Shrek comes and saves Fiona, but does not kill the dragon in the way that Jesus came to save the people, but did not overthrow the government. So that was his reasoning why Shrek is a Christ figure, and it's actually kind of foolproof. When you look up like the characteristics of a Christ figure, like Shrek hits on a lot of them.
And what did Mike and Sully do? They only saved the little girl. They didn't do that at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earlier when I was asking if anybody had closing arguments, I was going to say, well, we've all agreed that Shrek needs some family therapy, and that was going to be my resolution. But now he needs therapy and is a Christ figure, which is a way better resolution.